I'll think you can only barbecue in the warm weather. Think again. We say bundle up and get outside. Lucky for me, it's not me. It's Chef Jason Parsons doing the bundling up and getting outside. Thank you, my friend. He's here with a beautiful recipe to prove winter barbecuing is worth it. Am I right, Chef?
Absolutely. Get outside. You're not Canadian unless you're barbecuing in the winter. Come on.
I leave it to Leo and you, but I'm very excited for the recipe. So the recipe you're making today is pulled pork, and you're going to turn it into tacos. So two of my favorite things. Here's what you're going to need to prepare your pork. You need pork butt, that's the cut, brown sugar, salt and pepper, some anchovy powder, ground ginger, dried mustard, garlic powder, and some onion powder as well. All right, Jay, let's spice our pork butt, and maybe tell us why this particular cut of pork works best.
Well, you know, the great thing about this is it's kind of, well, first of all, it's not the butt. It's actually from the shoulder. I don't know why it got that bad name as the butt, yep. But it's just a really good fatty piece of meat that is very tough. So that's why we got to cook it for a long period of time. But when you cook something for a long period of time, it gives you an opportunity to add flavor over a long period of time. And that's why it's great for pulled pork. You know, and I bought this, it's got a blade bone in the side, but literally that's ready to go. You know, and all I'm going to do is, well, first of all, I'm going to take all my spices. And, you know, as you said just earlier, but we've got the ancho chili powder, but you could add a paprika if you wanted to. I've got some ground ginger in here, dried mustard in here, you know, a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, you know, black pepper. That's your spices. You could make that any way you want. But then you do need a bit of sugar in there. And I've got brown sugar, and mine's a little chilly and frozen right now, but, and then some kosher salt, all right? And that's gonna be your cure or your pickle, right? The sugar will give you the nice glaze on the outside when it's cooking, and obviously the salt will help to kind of dry up the meat and cure it up a little bit. And then what I do is I take just a little bit of oil first, and I rub that onto the actual pork butt, and it just helps the spices to stick. You know, you can roll it in there, but it just kind of helps a little bit more. And then you just start throwing it in there and just kind of rolling it around, pushing it all over. You know, there's no neat way to do this. Like, this is just barbecuing in the winter, right? But it's easy.
So it's a rub. It's a spice rub. You just want to make sure you get it all along the exterior. Exactly.
And I mean, you cannot put too much on, okay? So don't be afraid that, oh, I'm putting too much on, because as it's cooking, it's just gonna get right in there. And if you want, you can even do this a few hours before and let it sit. You don't need to, but then that is ready, and then you have a barbecue. You set your temperature 250 degrees. That's important, okay? And the reason we want to do it on a barbecue is because you get all the smoky char flavors. And you literally just pick this up as it is and put it right into the grill. You know, and then the neat thing about this is you need time. So you've got to get up in the morning early because you want to leave it in there for almost 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
What I do is I put a temperature probe in there, and that will bring it all the way up to 170 degrees. That's the magic number, okay? Because at that point, the fat's starting to break apart. You're getting a nice crust on the outside. And then what you do is you wrap it in tin foil and leave it for, believe it or not, another 2 or 3 hours.
Wow. And
then end up with 220 degrees. Yeah,
so slow and low, Chef. Very interesting. This is almost like cooking a Christmas turkey. Get up early and make a whole day of it.
Well, and the great thing is you're not outside for 10 hours. The pork's outside for 10 hours, right?
That's true.
One thing I didn't mention was I put a couple of little tinfoil cups of water in there when it's not wrapped, and it helps to keep it moist too, right?
Oh,
but the nice thing is when you're done, you end up with a nice cooked pulled pork. And I mean, everybody thinks pulled pork, all right, what's the technical, it's so easy. I mean, this is nice and warm, but you wrap it up. It's like a Christmas present, right? So, but you can see this, look at this, oh yeah.
Oh, it's perfect.
That is, I know, but we haven't done it. All we did is rub some spices on, throw it in the barbecue and go for a few drinks and away we go. And yet, look, you can literally just pull that apart. Now, on the outside is this really crispy char. You want that because when you mix this together, you get the juicy, soft stuff in the center with the crispy parts. You mix it all together. Tastes absolutely amazing.
Do you have a scientific way to pull this apart? Do you have like a tried and true and tested way to do it?
Well, the only challenge is you literally, I just put some rubber gloves on and go at it.
Yeah.
But the challenge is maybe eat first. because I find that when I'm
Right.
doing this, I tend to end up with only half of it left, right? So, you know, maybe eat first on a full stomach, then you do the pulled pork. Otherwise, there'll only be half the pulled pork left over. That's the only thing you got to worry about. But look at this. This already flaked down, done. And the nice thing about this is you can flake it in advance, and then you can put it in little bags. You can freeze it down, and then you can pull it out when you want to do tacos, or if you want to do, you know, pulled pork on a bun, or even add it in pasta. It's awesome.
Okay, so this
So-
is
so
good.
that's our pulled pork.
we are making tacos, and one of my favorite parts of that is the slaw. So you've got a smoked cabbage slaw for us.
Yeah, well, one thing you got to be with slaw is you got to be patient. So I've taken red cabbage, chopped it up fine, some carrots, some some actually white onion, a little bit of kale for some color and, you know, kind of make it healthy a little bit. But then what I did is I actually put in equal parts of salt and sugar, okay? But with the salt, I took 2/3 of it, or I think 3/4 of it of just regular salt, and then I actually got a quarter of it of smoked salt. And you can get salt and add it right in. You can just buy it, you kind of like your gourmet shops, and it adds a little smoky flavor to it. But you add the salt and sugar, wrap it, leave it on the counter, and leave it for 2 or 3 hours. And what happens is all the moisture comes out, but it really adds the flavor to it. And then you just strain that moisture off, and you end up with the start of a beautiful slaw like this. And then all I've done is I've gone and made a lemon, Dijon mustard, ginger, I'd say frozen vinaigrette. No, it's not frozen. It's a little chilly. But look at that vinaigrette. And then you just dress this just before it goes out, you know? Put it a little bit like that, flavor it up. You really want intense flavors for a taco because it's small bites, right? So I just do that. No more salt and pepper, though, because we've already kind of added that salt ahead of time.
So now
You
is
know?
it time to
And then-
assemble? Because we're almost out of time, and I want the taco part.
This is the fast part. This is the easy part. And then all I do is just when you're ready is you grill up your tortillas. Look at these, they're kind of hard. And then you just take your pulled pork, nice and warm, slide it in there like that. Look at that. And I don't make it too fine. I want it chunky, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of slaw on there. And I always, always, always overstuff my tacos, but whatever.
You got to do it.
Sour
Yeah.
cream. Yeah. And you can flavor the sour cream with wasabi if you want, or whatever you want, right? And then just some nice pickled jalapenos to give it that spice. But I mean, hello, we're in the middle of the winter, we're barbecuing, and we're eating tacos.
Well, you just made it so
Isn't that
worth it.
insane?
Oh my gosh, that looks so good, Jay. You may have changed some minds about winter barbecuing as well, because folks, it can be that good. Thank you.